Hello, welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the Academy Review. My name is Joe, and I'm joined today by our Academy expert, David Pritt. How you doing, mate?
Good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
You love it when I call you the Academy expert, don't you? You don't like it, but then you know so much that I have no question, no choice.
Maybe
but to
you
call
think
that.
there's people who know a lot more than me.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're the only person who knows this stuff, but you are resident expert, I'm afraid, no matter what you say. We're going to be looking today at the under-18s, the under-23s, a few choice players, as well as a loan wrap-up for all the United players who are out on loan. Let's start with the under-18s. Things going well for them at the moment. Sort of equal top of the league with Liverpool, with that clash coming up very soon. But talk us through how the under-18s have been recently.
Yeah, you mentioned top of the league, which is brilliant, and we also have a game in hand, which is a bonus for us, especially with that we're playing Liverpool up next. If we win that, it's all good for us, really. Yeah. But yeah, the game got off to a great start. Logan Pye went down.
Who's it against?
Sorry, it went against Newcastle. Yeah, and the ball came out to Logan Pye, who we got from Sunderland this summer, playing left back. He drilled it into the box. Hugo took a touch, span round, and just blasted it into the roof of the net. Really nice goal. Really, you'd love to see goals like that. And yeah, it looks all good until they end up scoring. They wriggle through the box. That was a nice goal, actually. Their striker just ran through the box, got past a few players, and put it past the keeper, which nothing he could do. And at 1-1, you were a bit worried then, thinking, could it be one of them where, we're playing well, but we're not, taking our chances? And then the next goal was a bit of a mad one, really. It's a bit of some ball bouncing around a bit at the edge of the box. The defender loops it up to the air, gets headed down to Hugo Worth, who just takes a slight touch and chips it over the keeper. Really nice finish for his second. And from that moment we looked like we weren't going to lose the game. And then he ends up getting his hat trick, which was another bizarre goal.
Hugo Worth, that is.
Yeah, Hugo Worth. Sorry, Emerin running down the wing just beats the offside trap. The keeper comes running out to the corner of the thing. It was madness, really. He took it round him and took a shot, and it hit the inside of the post, but bounced back. Thought the chance was over. Then they just give it to Hugo Worth, and he just takes a shot and gets his hat trick. It was mad, really. We had the opportunity to hit the post, and they should have dealt with it after that. He should
sort of crumbled a little bit.
Yeah, I think they panicked maybe a little bit, and he got his hat trick, and then which is great for him. He's he's a little terrier, really. He reminds me in a way of someone like Tevez, not in the style of play, but just the build of him.
He's Dutch, isn't he? Came from Holland.
Yeah,
is it Ajax he came from?
It's a bit. I can't think at the moment. You might be right, but I'll have to double check that. But he's very short, stocky, and he's just powerful. And if he carries on the form he is at the moment, I think he's going to do well. And then to wrap it up, Emerin again, the side of the box, nutmegs the player, pulls it back to Charlie Savage at the edge of the box, and he just blasts it for 4-1. Really nice, probably goal of the game, really.
Son of Robbie Savage.
Savage.
Any similarities in their play style, would you say?
He's a better player, probably.
Really?
He's a different type of Robbie Savage.
Is he as good on TalkSport, though? That's the question.
We don't know that yet, do we?
We simply don't know.
We'll have to wait 20 years.
He's got to have 20 years of a mediocre career, and then we'll find out.
Well, Savage was a bit of I wouldn't say an enforcer, but he's tackler, he wins the ball, and I think he's more of a ball player. Charlie, he's really, really nice to watch actually as a player, and the strike on him was really good.
Yeah, and we're talking before there about United now sort of level top of the league with the game in hand on Liverpool. Obviously, it won't be the game in hand, but the under-18s do play Liverpool next.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be a massive game, isn't it?
Of course it is. Well, it always is when it's Liverpool, but the fact that it's top of the table as well, and these players will know that Liverpool will be thinking, right, we need to score in order to get top of the league again, and we've got the opportunity to go 3 points clear with a game in hand over them, and it's. Luckily for us, it's at home in a way. I know there's not going to be.
When is that one?
That's tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's tomorrow at early doors. But I don't think no fans being there makes. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but just knowing the pitch and the dressing room and things like that might help us out. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as a game.
Yeah, that's got to be a good game. And we were talking before as well about the fact that some fans are now being reintroduced to top flight football or to professional football, adult football, in the areas that are tier 2 and below. we're not really expecting that for the under-21s and the under-23s and the under-18s.
You might get it with the under-23s, but I really can't see it with the 18s.
Yeah.
They play at the training ground, and obviously everyone, this club works there.
What's the testing like for the under-18s and 23s? Is it the same as the first team?
I think it is, because they train at the same facility.
Yeah.
So
a lot of them train with the first team anyway, don't they?
It's the same. I spoke to the women's under-21 manager just after the first lockdown, and she was saying because they don't train together, the women's first team are tested, but the 21s aren't because they're in different facilities.
Yeah.
Whereas, so that makes me think that if the first team are getting tested at Carrington, that everyone's getting tested.
Yeah. Because you can't really be in that space without being tested. It defeats the point of the first team, doesn't it?
Well, I can't see us going back at all this season unless we go back to normal. Even if it's tier 1, I can't see them people letting in the training ground, and I don't think it's sensible to let people back in the training ground with everything going on, because you won't just say like you did. Someone got in who had it. It wouldn't just affect the 18s. They could pass it on to everyone, and you just mess the club up. So until this cure or whatever it is sorted out, I can't see people going back to it there.
Yeah. For those who don't know, whether you're not from England or you're from England and you're not quite aware of the situation, we've just come out of a lockdown. There's a tier system: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 3 being the most severe, which is what Manchester is in. Tier 2 being slightly less, which is what places like Liverpool and London are in. And then tier 1, which is a little bit more relaxed on top of that, but still pretty heavy restrictions. And that's places like Cornwall, and there was somewhere else as well that's in tier 1. But generally speaking, most of the northwest is tier 2 or tier 3. So that's what we're talking about there. But basically means no fans in stadiums in Manchester, even for United anytime soon. Let's move on then to the under-23s, who aren't doing too badly either, but it's not quite as impressive, is it?
Yeah, the whole league's not doing great, to be honest. I think people are losing, winning, it's all over the place.
What do you put that down to?
I really don't know. You got to remember, these teams as well, sometimes they're just refreshed, so they'll get rid of everyone, and it'll
slightly more volatile in terms of personnel.
Well, it's just the age groups. Once the 18s are too old, they have to play in the 23s.
Yeah.
And then they send a load of players out on loan, like we have sent players out on loan, and we're playing a very young team. But other teams, like we played West Ham, and they'd not won a game all season until they played us the last Friday. And it was just a disappointing game. It was one of them where you could see us getting beat because of the fact that West Ham had not won a game all season. And I thought we were on top till they scored, really. Then they get to the edge of the box and a shot come cross towards the back post, and Will Fish, he tries to block it and he just puts it in his own net. If he left it, someone would have tapped it in. So he did well to get to it, but unfortunately he scored a known goal. And after that, it was madness. Half time came, and then straight from half time, they got a penalty where player runs into the box. We got a player each side of him. I don't think there was any contact, personally. I've watched it back a couple of times. He goes down. You can see why it was given by the referee, his position and stuff, but I don't think it was penalty. Very, very soft. They go and score for a second. Not too long after, we get into the box, Palestri, and...
How has he been? I know obviously he's been a lot of eyes on him, and
Yeah, I think he's been playing well. It was a difficult one for the West Ham game, because up till they scored, we were playing well. After that, I don't think we played particularly well. But yeah, I do like him. I think on that right wing, I think he's doing really, really well. And he, like I say, he got into the box, bundled over. Referee gives nothing, and for me that was more of a penalty than the West Ham one. And it was just frustrating. If we get
2-0.
If we get that goal, we could get back into the game. But the worst thing they're going to have to, right at the end of the game, which is daft, Hannibal in the corner flag, the West Ham players got the ball, shielding it, trying to waste time. Hannibal goes in, they both go down, and then they get their legs tangled, and they're just like not kicking each other, but wriggling to get out. And the linesman flagged and seemed it as a kick out and got a red card, so he's going to miss a game. And it's disappointing from his point of view, because I mentioned before, I think he is a bit volatile sometimes, and he just needs to calm down a bit, because he's a skillful player. You don't need that. He does get kicked around a lot, and you can see why he gets frustrated, but use that to your advantage. If they kick you, just stay calm and let them know it doesn't affect you, because things like that happen, otherwise you get sent off.
So that ended 2-0 to West Ham. Tonight, it'll be around an hour after this video goes live or so. I think. What time is kickoff?
7.
7. So it'll be roughly the same time as this video goes out. The under-23s are playing Southampton at home, which should be a winnable game.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. So we lost this game. We win. If we win against Southampton, we're either, I think, 3 or 4 points off the top, which is, even though we lost, it's madness, really. So it shows you how the league's going. The fact that we can lose games and we're still, if we win our game now,
basically top.
Yeah, it's mad. So they're below us, but West Ham were below us, so we can't really say it. But you'd think that it's going to be a bit of a weaker team tonight because we got the game on Tuesday coming up, which is a much bigger game. So
which is the game against Accrington in the EFL Cup.
Yeah, and it's the only the second time we've ever got to the knockout stages. So this is the first knockout, and it's obviously away because all the Premier League teams, they have to play away. So going to play at Accrington, and
so that's Accrington's first team, isn't it? So in theory, then, could the under-23s play against United? Is that possible?
No. So I think it's League 2 and League 1.
Right.
And then I'm not sure if that's the Championship. It's the old checker trade, but teams.
Is that the same as the Johnson's Paint?
Yeah. But it's teams from who've got an under-21s team. They can.
Yeah, because technically that is an under-21s tournament, but
no, it's a first team tournament.
I mean, sorry, it's the under-21s that are being entered in that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the under-21s, but we throw them in with the 23s because our 23s they're all under 20 years old, so it's the same team more or less. Yeah. But I don't think Hannibal will be banned for that game because it's a different league, so hopefully he'll play in that. But it's a tough test. The last game we got absolutely battered. We talked about it last week. We went through just on the bonus point we got from the previous game before that. But it's one of them where I really like it, and I think it's a tough test for these lads. They're playing against proper footballers who are fighting for their careers and not kicking them around, but they're more physical.
Do you like that though? Do you like the inclusion of playing against men's teams in the lower divisions, or do you think it is a bit, it should be kept separate? It's a bit too much.
For me, it's a catch-22. I feel sorry for the Accrington Stanleys because it's their competition, and then all of a sudden teams from the Premier League are throwing their under-21s in it, which at the time I didn't really like. But after going to the games and watching the players, I think it's beneficial for their development. It makes them better players, for me personally. Especially, we played Doncaster last year, and it was we ended up winning it, but it was a tough game, and back to the wall stuff defending wise. And I think a lot of players grew from that, knowing that, because it's tough out there, and you've got to really turn up to win these games.
And also, it's one of those as well where, if we're honest with ourselves, not all of these players are going to end up at Manchester United, and some of them will end up at the places like Doncaster and Accrington Stanley and League 1, League 2 teams. So in a way, it's a good way to show what you're about. And even if you don't, let's say you do end up at United, you might go on loan there, and it's a bit of a shop window as well for these players to prove that they can make it at that level. So I think it makes a lot of sense for the under-23s, but like I said, you do feel a little bit sorry for Accrington Stanley, those sorts of teams where you've just got a load of kids from a big rich team coming and playing against you. But
I changed my mind on it once I actually started going to him, because it was, to me, like I say, it's beneficial.
Good games.
It's an opportunity for these lads as well to finals at Wembley, to get, if you get all that way, but a long way to go yet.
And I suppose as well for some of the players for the lower league teams, it's a chance for them to prove themselves to the under-23s coaches or the under-21s coaches of Premier League sides. Some of them who were thinking, if I impress here and this coach sees me or that coach sees me, it could be a chance for them to sort of work their way up the ranks as well.
Yeah, well, you don't know what, like Neil Wood, is he going to be United's under-23 manager, under-21 manager forever? He might go on to a Championship team, or like someone like Ricky Frazier was our under-23 manager. He's managed Premier League and stuff like that. So when you're looking for players, you can think, I remember that lad he played against us did well. So, yeah, they will. And plus, it's United. They're going to want to beat United, aren't they?
Yeah. So make sure you check out tonight the game against Southampton, and on Tuesday the game against Accrington. Both very big games. It
costs you a tenner though to watch the Accrington game. You have to watch it on the EFL site.
There is that. There's always that. That EFL site. My flatmate's a Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Tenner a game. It's mad. It's too much.
It is.
If it was it's an under-21 game for us, I was paying that to go buy a ticket and go to the game. Now you're paying that to stream it, and it's not even a good stream.
No. Let's move on to some of our loan players then. Obviously, United have got a few players out on loan. Let's start with James Garner, who's probably the most successful loan so far of the season. He's been playing a lot of games for Watford. Playing pretty much week in, week out when he's available, isn't he?
Yeah, so weekend he played 87 minutes, subbed off right at the end, so he played the full game in a 4-1 win. From what I'm hearing, they're very impressed with him. The fact that he's playing him, I mean, he played Forest as well midweek, and he played the full 90 minutes there. So, the fact that the manager's trusting him, playing him in these 90 minutes is a good sign.
I know it was a few weeks ago now, but he's taking free kicks and he's very much involved. He's not a sort of like, you're new, you can't do that. He's taking free. Was it hit the crossbar? Wasn't it a few weeks ago? It's great that he's getting involved and that he's proper player for a championship team, rather than sometimes you see with the loans, as we'll get onto in a minute, where you drop down a few levels or you move and you just can't, for whatever reason, make it into the squad. But it seems as though, as we all hoped and thought he might, he's looked very good. Yeah,
and I've always been a huge fan of him for the 23s, and thinking he should have played a couple more times for our first team. But the fact he's doing this on loan now, come the summer, all he's got to look at him and think, right, he's got to be part of the first team squad.
Yeah, and let's move on as well then to some of the other players who have been playing. We've got Bernard in Salford as well.
Yeah, so the weekend he was unused sub in the FA Cup. Midweek they got beat 2-1 by Carlisle. But he scored in the 90th minute, bullet header apparently, good goal. So even though they got beat, it's a good sign for him that from being a defender, he's scoring a goal.
Yeah, and we've got Traore as well in Caen.
Yeah.
Caen? How are we pronouncing that? C-A-N.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but
we need a French expert.
Yeah, we do. Kovar at Swindon.
Yeah, he's playing
goalkeeper, of course.
Yeah,
for those who don't know.
Great goalkeeper for me.
Yeah. You've always been a big fan. I remember speaking to you last year about him, and you were saying it's almost unfortunate that we've got like 4 really good goalkeepers at the club who are ahead of him, whereas you've always thought he's one of the ones who may be talented enough to play at the top level.
I just think by watching him, some of the saves he makes, and you can look at games where we've conceded, and I don't think he makes many mistakes. Usually the goals that we concede are down to bad defending, but he's been playing. He played 2 games, weekend and midweek, played in 90 minutes for both of them in goal. So he's their first choice now, and it's just, that's got to be good for him, because no matter what, if he went to whatever league he went to, you want to be, as a goalkeeper, you want to be playing 90 minutes.
Because it's easy. Because the thing is, if you're only slightly worse than their first choice goalkeeper, you just never play.
Exactly.
It's not like every other position where you can rotate. That generally speaking, if you're not fancied as the number 1, you ain't playing. So it's good that he is fancied as the number 1. Move on to finally Dylan Levitt then, who's been a bit more tricky. Obviously, always throughout the years paired with James Garner, they're almost seen as this sort of pack. Like when you go to the dog shelter and you're adopting a puppy, like you got to get them together because they're best mates. They're almost like that, aren't they? Where you think it's unfair that they're even loaned at different teams.
Yeah, but I mentioned this to, I think it was Garner's dad at the time, saying it'd be great if they both got loaned out together somewhere. But unfortunately, Dylan's gone to Charlton. I think Lee Bowyer's the manager, and he's not been playing him. He's got an excuse this week because he contracted COVID, tested positive, so he's not playing. But I don't think he'd have been playing anyway for some reason. I mean, he praises him when you hear quotes from him. He praises Levitt, but he just doesn't seem to play him. And for me, United need to recall him in January, either put him back in the 23s, or for me, a better thing would be find a better team for him that are going to play him.
I think if they've decided he needs a loan, you would hope that they would then find the right loan for him and try again with it, because it's a decent standard there, and you just think it's not necessarily because he's not good enough that he's not playing. Like I said, it can be a number of different things, and obviously he's very talented. So you reckon get him back and send him somewhere else? Yeah,
well, it happened with Joel Pereira. It was goalkeeper. I don't remember when he got sent out to a Portuguese team. He's Portuguese himself, but it was a manager who was friends with Mourinho, and when Mourinho got the sack, they just stopped playing him. So United straight away, we didn't play a few games, we recalled him and sent him somewhere else where he's going to play, because they don't send him out on loans just to get rid of him. They can send him out on loans so they can progress and do well, and so they can see what they're all about. If they're stuck on a bench somewhere, it's not worth it, is it? So, for me, bring him back and then send him back on loan to a club that will appreciate him.
Someone else worth mentioning who's sort of on the border of the under-23s and the first team is Ethan Laird, who is back from injury.
Yeah, so with that West Ham game, I forgot to mention, it's his first start since the opening game, the Salford game in the EFL Trophy. Played about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. Looks all right, but it's one of them games where we got beat 2-0, so,
How good can you be if you're playing right back and we lost 2-0?
Yeah, but for me, he just needs a couple more games under his belt and he should be all right. I don't know if this is the thing. I don't know whether they'll play him tonight, maybe. Give him half an hour or an hour, and then he'll play in the Accrington game. But another player we didn't mention there was Chong. He's also out on loan over in Germany. He's not been starting the past few games. He's been coming off the bench, but he is getting game time, which is good. He got 20 minutes last weekend, which isn't the best, but at least he's getting game time.
And he's also playing in the Bundesliga. It's not like he's playing in the German third division, is it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one with Chong because when he first arrived there, he almost became this like weird meme Chong goal social media thing straight away, and then
he just hit the ground running when he got there. And I don't know whether it was because they were playing behind closed doors in a smaller stadium, and the pressure wasn't on there, so he just went out and did his thing, and it seemed to work for him. But like you say, it's the Bundesliga, so I don't think he's going to be starting every game, but he seems to be playing most games, which is beneficial.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a tough league, the Bundesliga, so it's good for him.
Yeah, it's good that he's playing there, isn't it? Right, so tonight then, obviously, you mentioned the game against Southampton. Give me a score prediction for that game.
It's hard to say.
It's almost impossible with the 23s, isn't it?
It is because you don't know what team you're putting out, and it's the same with Southampton. It's not always going to be the same team for them. And with this game coming up, I do think we'll play a weaker side because I think the Accrington game is far more important. Yeah, so I can see maybe, like I said, maybe Laird playing, but it's going to be hard to predict. But they are below us. We should win, but West Ham were below us, and we got beat by them. But we need a win, so I'm going to say a win.
Win. Yeah. Very good. So make sure you check that game out tonight and the game on Tuesday as well, the big EFL Cup game. It is £10, as you mentioned, so if you can't afford that or you don't want to pay that, you can tune into the Academy Review next week. It's going to be every single week now, so you'll be able to get all the updates, all of the info on that game if you do miss it. Thank you very much for joining me today, Dave.
Pleasure, mate. Good to do with you again.
Very good. Yeah, it's been Jay for too long, actually.
Yeah, are you going to have a fight now?
We've thrown him out.
You two for next week.
We get to fight for your attentions for next week. Thank you for joining us at home, and we'll see you in a bit.
Head over to stretfordpaddock.bigcartel.com and check out the Paddock merch. And for a short time, you can get 20% off orders with 2 items or more using the code Paddock20. Go get on it.